Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk about all the books I read in September and October. I ended up combining the 2 months because I've been very busy. I'm actually in a musical that is opening tonight. It's called Something Rotten, and I am a tap dancing egg in this musical. So I'm getting ready to go for the first show. And I wanted to do a quick book review so I can get these books wherever they need to go before I leave. The first first I want to talk about the Ryan Holiday Stoicism books I read. This is a three-part series. The first one's The Obstacle is the Way. This is a reread from me. I read this many years ago, and I I found a lot of value, and I found even more value the second time I read it, which was last month. Highly recommend this one. This is all about difficult things in your path and how to turn them into positive things. And it seems pretty simple, but it really isn't when you're in the moment and dealing with things. So I would highly recommend The Obstacle is the Way. The next book in the series is Ego's the Enemy. I actually read this book last year at about the exact same time of the year because I was dealing the exact same thing that I'm dealing with now, which is just hardship in the theater industry. And this book is extremely helpful. I love this book. This book is absolutely incredible. Every time I reread this book, I think I actually read it twice last year, if I remember correctly. But every time I read this book, I find more and more value. This is very helpful if you're struggling with rejection and not getting what you want and feeling bad about your situation. So highly recommend this one. And this is the third book in the series. This book is hard. This book, I don't know if I'm there yet. I think I'm still stuck in the ego area of I would call this the stoicism journey. Really trying to figure out how to center your mind and still your mind. I like this book, but I don't know if I really connected to it as much as I did the other two. So I think I'm probably due for another reread of the trilogy to really understand. And so this is all about stoicism and trying to really get more value out of your life as opposed to being unhappy and upset. So yeah, these books have been just monumental on my journey. Also last month in September, I read Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I had a hard time with this book. I didn't really start connecting I didn't even start connecting to this book until the end. So I do want to reread it because I think I will enjoy it a lot more on a reread. I'm not really a fantasy reader, but I want to be. I want to read more fantasy. And some parts of this book I really enjoyed enough to want to reread it. So I think I need another go through with this one. I also read Beartown, finally. I actually DNF'd and unhauled this one years ago, and then I picked it back up again. Honestly, it was okay. It was a bit cringy at times. I did a lot of eye rolling. I have the entire trilogy, and I am planning to read it. I don't want to unhaul this one yet. I want to see where the trilogy takes it. It's not as perfect as some of his other work. There's just too much silly commentary that I just did not buy. It's about a town that is really small, and it's all based on hockey. Hockey's like the most important thing in this town. And it's talking about how, people will make excuses for athletes who are valuable to the town and let them get away with things. But I didn't think it was that good of an exploration of this concept. I didn't buy it. So, I'll hold on to it, but I feel like in the end, when I review what I have on my shelves, this book will end up in the unhaul pile. I also read Solaris by Stanislav Lem. This book was hard, complicated. I really enjoyed it, but I think I need to reread it again just to get more out of it. So it's a quick little book. It took me a long time. This is all about a planet that these scientists are working on, and they're starting to realize the planet is sentient and the planet is trying to communicate with them physically by sending manifestations to them of people who are important to them or have died. But it's a very, very fascinating book, and I definitely need to reread this again. This is complex. It's the science. There's a whole science part that I just really needed to focus on a little more than I did. So Need to reread that one. I also read Night Watch. This is by a Russian writer, Sergei Litvinenko. I really enjoyed this. I love this book. This is based on a movie that I used to watch. I think the movie's from like 2000. I don't remember. Early 2000s. It was a Russian movie made by a pretty famous director who's done a lot of crazy stuff. But anyway, the book was really cool. I really like this. It's about two levels of magic, the light and the dark, and they oversee each other. The Night Watch oversees the Day Watch, and the Day Watch checks on the Night Watch, and they're both kind of, I don't know. I think the Day Watch is more evil, but it's hard to say that because it's complicated. Everything's not black and white, evil and not evil. So, very fascinating book. Really enjoyed this. Would definitely reread, even though this author is kind of problematic in Russia right now. Unfortunately, I ended up really liking this book, so I might have to read more. So, great book. Great science fiction. This is the new book by R.F. Kuang, Catabases. What did I think about this book? This book was fun. Was it good? I don't know if it was good. Did I enjoy it? I enjoyed parts of it. It was an interesting read. I would probably read it again as a fun, cute read. It's very young adult, very simple, but cute. There's really nothing complicated. I would say this is a weaker contribution by her compared to some of the more recent works like Babel and Yellowface. But yeah, I'm glad I read it. It was cute. It was really cute. So that's all I can really say. It's about a boy and a girl who travel to the underworld, and it's a cool world she created. So yeah, that's probably why I would read it again. Okay, so moving on, I read Ann Tyler's new book, 3 Days in June. This is a very, very quick little book. It was good. I like this more than some of her other more recent works. But as a whole, compared to what I know she can do, such as Dinner at the Homesick Restaurant, which is one of my favorite books of all time, and The Accidental Tourist, this is not good at all. This is a very lame attempt. Nothing compared to how brilliant and prolific she was back in the day. This is really just a very shallow attempt at a novel. But it was good. I liked it. There were parts of it that I really enjoyed. It's about an older woman whose daughter's getting married, and then her ex-husband comes to stay with her for the wedding because he has nowhere else to go. And they explore various themes of marital problems and infidelity and things like that. And yeah, I liked it. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I don't know if it'll survive. I think I probably won't get rid of it yet, but I don't know if it's good enough to keep and reread. But it was good. It was okay. It was okay. I did just finish this. I think it was 2 days ago. This is J.M. Coetzee, Disgrace. I've had this for a really long time on my shelf. Finally read it. Really enjoyed this. This book was, I mean, I wouldn't say it was the best book I read in the last 2 months, but it was definitely a great book. This book is about a professor who is having a hard time controlling his sexual appetite, and it kind of destroys his career. And he goes to live with his daughter, and it takes place in South Africa on a farm, like a dog boarding farm. And he has these various experiences, including taking care of these dogs, euthanasia, and also dealing with his daughter and the cultural parts of South Africa and how it relates to his understanding of sexuality and male urges. And I found this book very good. I really enjoyed this. I would definitely read this again, which makes me rethink some of the other books by this author that I was planning to on haul. I think I should probably go ahead and read them because this book was very impressive. Really enjoyed it. I finally finished Ship Fever. I started this one when I did my shelf by shelf challenge. With this one, this was one of the books on the shelf. This is a collection of short stories about scientists, and I did very much enjoy this book. I think almost every single short story was fascinating and intriguing and beautiful, and including Ship Fever. Yeah, so great stories. Really enjoyed this. This is exactly the type of book that is for me. I mean, I can't say it was the best, but it was pretty great. Definitely in the pretty great category. I finished After Dark by Haruki Murakami. This is another book that I would put in the pretty good, pretty great category. This is a very quick read, and this is about a girl who's just sitting and reading at Denny's in the middle of the night, and she's approached by a boy, and that she knew previously, that knew her sister, and then it kind of it all takes place that night, and it definitely has supernatural elements to it, but they're very small. It's really just exploring. I don't even know how to. There's so much in this book. It's so complicated. I guess it's talking about I guess the contributions of women and beauty, and what is a woman's what is the purpose of women, especially when they are beautiful. Also, I guess there's this whole scene where there's a prostitute who's been beat up and she's trying to help her, and then it kind of goes through like the man who did who abused her, and then it kind of relates to her sister in a way which I didn't truly understand. That's where I think the science fiction-y elements came in. It's really just talking about, I guess, the value of women, maybe in Japanese society, and it's mostly just a lot of conversations, a lot of conversations about various things and people, and nothing much really happens in this book. But I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the process. So this is I guess a 4-star for me until I reread it and see if I enjoyed it more. I also finished Six of Crows finally. I had a really hard time with this book. I don't know if I just read it at the wrong time in my life, because I really wanted to like this book. I liked the other books that I read by this author. It's possible I just did not really understand the background. I haven't read her other books. I haven't read the Grisha trilogy, The Shadow and Bones. I don't really know this world. So maybe it's that I was thrown into the middle of this world, where she has so many books discussing it previously, and I didn't really appreciate that. I did like the main characters a lot. I thought they were very good. This is about a heist, and that kind of goes, that doesn't work out. So there's a sequel, Crooked Kingdom, which I have right here ready to go. But yeah, I think I'm probably gonna have to reread this book, because I had such a hard time just getting through it and really focusing on this book. So it's a keeper, but I did not enjoy my first reading of it. I also read Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson. I enjoyed most of this book, I guess, until the ending, when it just kind of fell flat for me. So I'm probably going to unhaul this one. It was okay. It's about wealth and wealthy people relating to non-wealthy people. And I thought it was going to be a little better than it was. I feel like the author kind of gave up trying to do anything significant and just kind of half-assed the ending. So I wanted to like this book a lot, and I had very high expectations going in, because this book was recommended to me by a librarian. But I don't think I liked it enough to really reread it. I think I got the gist. I also read It's All Too Much. This is one of those unhaul declutter books. This was cute, and it's I don't know, it was okay. It got me into a feeling of wanting to declutter, and I definitely made some progress on my house. This is definitely not something I want to keep, though. It wasn't the best. It's just pretty basic. This is a basic one. I did just buy another one, so hopefully that new one will be more effective. I think I gotta keep the memories, lose the stuff. This one I'm probably going to end up unhauling. I got some value out of it, and I'm going to move on. I also read The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. Love this book. This book was wonderful. I read her other book, Interpreter of Maladies, and adored it. So this is definitely a great author that I totally connect with. She really writes about immigrant issues. This book follows an Indian couple who immigrates to America, and there's this thread of Russian literature weaving through this book that I really enjoyed, especially Nikolai Gogol. And then a lot of it has to do with the main character's child's name and what it means, and his struggles, and what his being Indian means in America. and how that relates to his name. And I love this book. This book was great. So I would highly recommend this one, and also The Interpretive Maladies. I read Curtain by Agatha Christie. Actually ended up buying a brand new copy of it because I had a mass market paperback. Love this book. This was amazing. This is her last Poirot book. I don't want to spoil it, but it really does go above and beyond some of the other more recent, some of the first books that she wrote about Poirot. This book is just really her commentary on what Poirot and Hastings, his sidekick, really become in the end. And I love this book, so I would highly recommend this one. I'm trying to get my husband to read it, and I think he's getting into it. Finally finished Independence Day by Richard Ford. I absolutely love this book so much. This book is very slow, and it's really just, you're so in this guy's head, and he is a divorced real estate agent, former writer, who is dealing with his troubled son, and they're kind of on a trip to spend some time together, and it's just so much commentary, and he has so much to say, and I was totally there with him, and I was so emotionally invested in this book, and I absolutely love it, and I want to just read everything by this author now. So I don't think it's for everyone, and he's not the best character. He's not the most positive male character. He's a very flawed human, which I think makes this book very endearing. But I loved it. I loved everything he had to say. I would say one of the best books I've read this year. Gorgeous. I read Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. This is his new book. I loved the Anthropocene Reviewed, which was the book that he wrote a couple of years ago. This is all about tuberculosis. I don't really read a lot of books about tuberculosis. I'm not a big enthusiast about learning this subject, but this book was amazing. I love his nonfiction. I think John Green, who's the famous author of young adult fiction, his place, I think, is in nonfiction. This is phenomenal. He is such an incredible writer. I was just very, very passionately hanging on to every word in this book. It is such a fascinating look at tuberculosis and its place in our culture and history and science and everything. Love that book. Another incredible book I read was The Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferranti. This is the author of the Brilliant Friend Quartet, of which I've just read one book, but I have the others, which I will read soon. This book, actually, the reason I picked it up is because it got nominated. It was not nominated. It was one of the best books of the 21st century, or the past 25 years or something like that. I forget. It was a big deal last year, but this is one of those books on that list that was just everywhere and everybody was talking about. And I absolutely love this book. This is exactly like the book I needed to read when I was reading it. It's about a woman whose husband abandons her for a younger woman, and she just has a massive breakdown. Now, this book has animal cruelty, animal abuse, graphic animal death, so there's that trigger warning. But with all the stuff that's happening to her, it just kind of just adds to the trauma, this horrifying experience where she just has a full mental breakdown, and just like going through a full mental breakdown with somebody. And Elena Ferranti is such an amazing writer. She really just did an incredible job with this breakdown, and then also climbing out of the breakdown and getting back and trying to get your life back on track. So in terms of that, it's such a positive read. I love this experience. This was gorgeous. I just dying to read this one again, I think. And I started tabbing. This is the book that got me, like, I think I'm going to start annotating, because I see the value now. I also read, this is a nonfiction, The Kingdom, the Power, and the Glory. This book is older than I thought. It was written in 2023, I believe. 2023 this book came out, so 2 years ago. And this is by the author of American Carnage on the Front Lines of the Republican Civil War and the Rise of President Trump. So I think he believed that America was no longer at risk of having Donald Trump as president when he wrote this book. So that's pretty significant. And this is all about how evangelicals and Christian nationalists got Donald Trump, or supported Donald Trump, and how big the movement grew, especially when he was no longer president. And he comes from an evangelical family. His father was a preacher, and I think after his father's death, he realized how politicized the church that his father preached at became, and he kind of wrote this book in response to that. Because his entire community just started turning against him because he was speaking out against the president, Donald Trump. And he was trying to understand why these Christian people who were following Christ were also supporting such an anti-Christian leader. And this book is exploring why that happened and why they do it, and also mega churches and this fever, I'm not sure how to say it, just basically why these churches are becoming politicized and what effect that is happening on our politics. And he has a lot of things to say about Charlie Kirk as well. And this is, again, 2 years ago, before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So I found this book very relevant, fascinating, got a lot of my questions answered. And I like reading books by people who really understand religion. And this man is, he is educated in religion. He's a religious man. He's a Christian man who he isn't an outsider. He is an insider exploring what's going on with his society, which I found very valuable. So yeah, I would highly recommend this book. Anyway, great reading month this month. And I need to go and finish getting ready for my musical, which opens tonight, and it's called Something Rotten, and I'm very excited. Thank you for watching.